Hello, everybody, and welcome to One Shot, the show where we look at our favorite TTRPGs, review them, play them, and then review them again. I'm Cody.
And I'm Joe. I'm getting used to that.
I know, I'm still getting used to it too.
It's weird how those little things like that can trip a person up like that, right?
Yeah,
Such
yeah.
creatures of habit. Hey, how have you been,
Yas.
Cody?
I have been well. I've been doing a lot of prep for this. How have you been?
I have been doing well as well. I've been doing some prep for this, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. I'm not 100% of the way there yet, but I feel like I have enough of a foundation that like we're ready to go. I if we were to, let's say, run this tomorrow, I think I'd be ready to go. But I think that
Nice.
we're all it's I would say like 97% there.
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. So for the audience...
Oh yeah, good.
So for the audience, we've been doing Worldwide Wrestling for this kind of small series, if you will. And today
Yes.
we're going to be doing we'll call it Session 0 episode, where we'll talk about the setting a little bit that Joe has crafted with his wonderful mind. And I will talk a little bit about the character that I created so that you kind of have a reference point for the things that Joe and I will say when we actually run this with our guest.
Yeah, we're gonna have guests on this one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had guests on the old one. I suppose, right?
But we had guests
It's gonna be more
for
frequent guests.
yeah, a more frequent guest.
Yeah. So just to recap for our friends, from the last episode, Worldwide Wrestling is an RPG that is part of the Powered by the Apocalypse system. Basically, what that just means is that if you have a couple of D6s and some imagination and these PDFs that they so graciously make available online, then you can play. So the basic idea is that this is an RPG where you and friends are creating your own sort of televised wrestling program. Think like WWE, AEW, things like that. So yeah, I'll get into a little bit of my stuff, I suppose. Maybe give some background of the league itself, and then I'll let Cody go, and then I'll kind of maybe like give the blueprint for what episode 1 might look like. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean that sounds great. I'm super excited because usually for me this is like a huge undertaking where I gotta like create like at least a town and all this stuff. But this time I just got to think about my character a lot, which is definitely a very unique experience for somebody who is a dungeon master for most of the time. So yeah, I'm super excited. Why don't you hit me up with those juicy deets on the Wrestling Federation that we're going to be playing in?
Excellent. All right. So I have created the Federal World of Intense Wrestling, or FWIW.
Yes.
FWIW is located in vaguely the Midwest. And by vaguely in the Midwest, I mean that it goes on some traveling shows, but it's never going to get much further than a day or two outside of its central location, which is Youngstown, Ohio. FWIW has built up something of a web presence. It is actually pretty popular on its personal streaming service, and then it also simulcasts on YouTube Live. And then the big thing about this and what we're kind of going to go for from there is that it is reached a level where it has started getting the attention of maybe people who might want to start making it a little bit bigger. So that's kind of my main idea, is that it's like, we're not necessarily the big time. We're not selling out we're not selling out big stadiums like the WWE or AEW, but we're selling out respectable size venues. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that being said, I'm not going to like make it so Midwest that it's like unbearable. Like, people come from all over the place, FWIW has gained something of a reputation, so that people know that if you're looking to kind of start breaking in and making a name for yourself, FWIW is the way to go. In fact, some of our top talent has moved up to bigger venues in the past, or bigger promotions in the past. We were sad to see him go, but we're happy to see him succeed. And then, so here's some big things for this. I have developed three belts. And so while in our episode, we probably will not get to belt contention, this is the sort of things, these are the goals that your guys are going to be striving for, is to get to the top of this heap, get to the top of this ladder. Okay, so the first one is, another super important thing that I should mention, FWIW is completely intergender. So anyone can hold any belt at any time. We book matches, or FWIW books matches regardless of gender. It does not take gender into factor when booking matches like other companies do. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you're listening to this. Our current FWIW championship is held by Charles Blockhead Brown. He is a veteran, and then he is a heel. So he's pretty popular amongst the crowd. This is actually the third time he's returned to FWIW. He said he had retired a couple of times, but the ring just keeps drawing him back. And his big finisher is kick the football.
I love everything about this. It's so good.
Right?
CB. Charlie's gonna fucking fuck shit up.
I'm gonna hold off on what his entrance is, because I'm actually pretty fond of his entrance. Okay. So the next one is the FWIW North America belt, which is currently held by Josie Post. Josie is a high flyer. Meaning that she likes to go to the top of the ropes. She likes to do her flips. She likes to springboard out of the ring, things like that. She loves hitting suicide dives. She is a face. She is an incredibly reliable friend. So when she sort of makes alliances with people, like, she's going to be your friend for life. And then she will always fight her hardest to get the job done. She is a relatively new addition to the FWIW roster. But she has risen up the ranks really quick. People really love her and her like late 80s, early 90s styles. And then her finisher is through sleet. Which is basically, that's a high flying move where she gets up to the top of the ring and she does like a triple somersault. And then the next title is the Ring Regent. So this is, the Ring Regent is a belt that is decided by an annual tournament. Once the region is decided, they can force matches or add stipulations to any matches that they are part of. And by force a match, they can force you to become part of a match that you had I've never necessarily worked with this guy before. The Ring Regent can make you do it. So the current holder of the Ring Regent, the one who won the tournament this year, is the Archangel Rick Collins, who is his archetype is the Golden Boy. He is a heel, and he is actually leader of a heel faction, which is called the Heavenly Warriors. And then his finisher is the Heavenly Creatures, which is a spirit bomb, which is basically he like pulls you up and then drops you down. And the members of his heel faction are his number one right-hand woman is Bex O'Connell. Bex is a hardcore. And then we have a tag team of the Wrecking Crew, and their names are Dex and Rex. And then Dex is a monster, and Rex is a wasted. I have other guys as well, but those are going to be like sort of the main people. One other thing I forgot. This is actually important. We also have the FWIW, the family. which is sort of the head of the promotion, which are Mr. and Mrs. Ronnie Smith. They are they were both former wrestlers. They started this promotion, and then their son is another kind of high level heel who just loves kind of booking himself in easy to win matches, so he looks really cool, and he's a great heel because everyone hates him.
Ooh, yeah, hate the management.
Okay, so yeah, that's sort of the league as it stands at the moment. Cody, why don't you tell us a little bit about your guy? Just so everyone knows, the basic conceit of an episode 1 of this is that this is probably going to be Cody's their character's like second or third episode, so you're still a relative newbie around here.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about your guy.
Yeah, so my guy is Steely Mr. Pillar Rogers. He's a monster archetype and a heel, and I think because now that I know, because this is all like new information for me, he really wants to be a part of the Heavenly Crew, because his whole little bit, his like story is that he's Atlas, and that the gods have basically put him on this planet to make sure that faces or like new wrestlers basically get a beating before they go and take on the big leagues.
Okay.
So definitely trying to join the, you'll have to remind me of the name again, but like the Heavenly Crew, like the heels.
The Heavenly Creatures.
Yeah, the Heavenly Creatures. Like he's definitely striving to be there. I won't go over all of the stuff. To keep some, like, I'll keep his intro a mystery for the moment.
We're gonna keep that mystery because that's obviously the most fun part of any
right
wrestler.
But he Mr. Pillar wears very little because he's just so fucking huge. He's just got muscle on muscle. But he wears shackles that cover his forearms and like basically mostly like like bare minimum leather. And he wears a like fake belt with lightning and like some like almost Enochian like runes written on them. And he's got like white messy hair pulled back and like a wild beard, all white of course. So my stats for this individual, because I think that's fun to go over. His look is 0.
Nice.
His power is 2. He's getting a +1 from one of his moves. His reel is -2. And his work is 0.
Okay.
And the moves I picked, because for the monster, you get to choose 2 moves right off the bat.
Oh, nice.
I have Intimidating, which is when you're not in the ring, you roll +power instead of look.
Okay.
Which is great because my look is absolute trash. With that 0. And then the other one, which is Would You Look at That Size, which just gives me a +1 power.
Okay.
So if I'm not mistaken, my power is maxed. Or is 3 the max? No, it's +2. Okay.
Okay, yeah, 3 is the max.
So yeah, he's definitely got like, I haven't quite settled on his finisher yet, but I'm thinking something to do with as he does a drop, right? But like he poses as Atlas while holding the person behind his back and then like fucking gets up and drops his ass.
Okay, you're thinking of like a backbreaker probably.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to call it the Atlas Smash. Because, yeah, because that sounds like a real powerful move. He just fucking, like, grabs them and just drops them. And that sounds really fun.
Yeah. Did we go over what the different stats, like, kind of represent in a roundabout way?
Yeah, kind of. Look is basically your
ability to, like, talk to the crowd,
Yeah, it's kind of like your charisma, but charisma for the crowd, not necessarily just like your overall talking prowess.
And then the different moves you do too. So like some moves require you to like hit a triple somersault in the sky, and that's like really not easy. That could also be falling under work too. But like, yeah, you make it flashy. Power is like you're a big beefy boy.
Yeah, you're just like so much muscle. You're able to lift shit, and like that was the kind of like the vibe that I was going for
sure.
Yeah,
real is like the reality of the wrestling, and so like there's a term in wrestling called work stiff, which is basically like you let those hits actually land, so you look all bruised and gross after a match is done. And then work is like basically your ring presence with other people. What that boils down to is like wrestling is at the end of the day almost kind of like a ballet. So it's your ability to do hard moves, and it's your ability to communicate with the other person to do hard moves together. A lot of moves that are considered quote unquote submission moves do necessitate a fair amount of communication with the other person and a fair amount of technical skill. The other thing too is like, I'll throw this one out there, is when you're watching a wrestling show, like when they'll pick someone up and throw them, like you can almost always tell that dude like gave an extra little bounce to like, you know, add some air momentum to get thrown. So
right. But yeah, that's my dude. I'm really excited.
I'm excited.
I have no idea. Like, I'll be honest. And maybe this is probably something we should have mentioned. I'm still a little, not concerned. Concerned is the wrong word. I'm really excited to play this. But I'm also... So, like, in most games that I've played in the RPG element, like, I know exactly what I want to say and, like, basically what kind of roles I want to roll. So, like, if I'm a smart character, I want to do smart things, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this, I'm a little unfamiliar with like the wrestling genre, so like I'm gonna read more on it and hopefully not be a total fucking loser when it comes to doing this. But yeah, I have no idea how to, because like my reel is a -2, which means I should never try to break
kayfabe.
How do you? Yeah, kayfabe.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like he's just so in character that it's so weird to like not see him in character.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be interesting. I'll definitely be doing a lot of feats of strength whenever given the possibility.
Well, I think the other thing too about break kayfabe is the idea of like if someone hits you, you really make it look like it hurt. Whereas like someone like I think it's like the hardcore, like might get hit really hard and just like bounce right up. And like that's breaking kayfabe because it's like, oh, that hit should have like taken out a person, you know?
Right.
So yeah, and I mean, here's the thing is that I think that's kind of what makes this RPG interesting is when I had first heard about it, I was like, how are you able to kind of capture that in there? But I think it's interesting too that like they really do, the people who developed this game, it might have just been one guy, really kind of sees the thing, like you have that thing where you can replace power for look, and like some people, all it takes to cut a promo is to walk out and just yell a lot, whereas some people are like really good talkers and they can like talk really good, and it's like, whoa, I like that person because they're a good talker, but I also like that guy because he just yelled a lot. So
yeah, I have some ideas for what, because I'm pretty sure that I will be having to cut a promo at some point, so I already have ideas on how to use that ability to great effect. I'm already like pre-planning how this dude's gonna work, and I'm excited. I'm also excited to see our guest character, because they will be, at least according to what I've heard, they will be rolling a face character.
Yeah.
Who I will be facing in the ring.
One of the recommendations of one of the recommendations of the game is that with a smaller party, you have one person be a face and one person be a heel, just because they both automatically get heat with one another, which helps. And then, just a real quick, we're going to get into what I have planned in terms of the actual like sort of setup of the game. So basically Worldwide Wrestling recommends a couple of different aspects, which is to have a think of your session in terms of segments. And a segment is basically just like the time between a commercial break. So for like a rough breakdown for the fans at home, a wrestling match will usually be anywhere from 2 to 3 commercial breaks. Interviews, promos, things like that will usually be a commercial break. So my basic idea was that I wanted each of the wrestlers to experience one solo match and then one match where they were both in the ring at the same time. Part of this is because I want everyone to experience the role of the announcer. And then part of it is that I wanted, you want to see the action. You want them to feel the action of what it's like when they're in the ring together. So basically, it is going to be a balance of, out of ring and in ring segments. Everyone is going to have a chance to wrestle individually. Everyone is going to have a chance to wrestle all together. And then, both wrestlers are going to have a chance to like basically, cut promos or make, do an interview, things like that. So we're going to see a nice rounded, impactful, what's the word I'm looking for? We're going to see a chance. Everyone's going to get a chance to do a little bit of solo shining and then working together, as we kind of go through my wild, wacky world of wrestling. So, yeah.
Very cool. I'm excited. So, question for you.
Yes.
In terms of mechanics, and I think I read this right, we will, unless we change it, which is something that you can do in this game, we're going to know who is supposed to win according to you during the show, or is that something that like you just have written off to the side, and like how is that mechanic going to work? And I'm interested to see how that plays out.
So it is my understanding, based on the rules, and I can go and double check this rule, that the way it's going to work is that on our next episode, we're going to do very brief introductions. We're going to go around and we're going to do our sort of, where every character has questions that they ask of other characters to kind of build heat with, build rivalries with. And then I will ask for in this case, it's going to be very short break where I determine who is going to be matched with who, and then I determine the winner. And so you don't necessarily know the winner at the beginning of the match, but at one point I will say, all right, so now do your finishing move. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
If you are scheduled to win the match, which you may or may not be,
right.
I will tell you to hit your finishing move.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of a gamble, really, because like if you don't have any momentum saved up because you're not sure when and if you're going to need it to finish, I see. That's going to be really cool. I'm excited about that. I didn't quite understand.
It's something I'll have to go double check.
Right. But that sounds really cool. I like that.
But it's one of those deals where it's like, at some point I'll be like, all right, it is time. And I think maybe it's, if it's the opposite, I mean, it's still not it's still an incentive for you to build your momentum.
Right. I mean, you always want to build your momentum.
Yeah. Or if you lose a match, I believe you get to hang on to your momentum, and then that's something you can take into the next match with you. So,
gotcha. Okay, so it isn't like, okay, so you're not trying to like guess the what do they call you in this game? It's not the dungeon master. It's
The creative.
the creative. Yeah. So you're not trying to like guess who the creative thinks is gonna win, so that you don't accidentally like not spend your momentum. You can just kind of okay, cool.
Yeah,
I
said,
like
that's something
it.
I'll double check before we actually play. And then,
Right.
you know, and sort of like, if I can rant about the state of modern day wrestling for just a hot second, a thing, a problem I've seen people bring up in contemporary wrestling is that finishers have kind of lost their oomph, if that makes sense. Because the way it's supposed to work is you're supposed to have some pretty cool moves, maybe some moves that have names, and then when you hit that finisher, that other guy is not going to come up, you know? But in recent years, it has kind of reached this point where you might see a person kick out of the finisher 3 or 4 times. And so it's one of these deals where it's like, are they kind of making them less meaningful by making them easier to break out of? Shoulder shrug.
Interesting. Do you think that's because maybe this is too much for a session 0 conversation, but like, do you think it's because of like wrestlers not agreeing with the creatives on what's going on and shit just gets weird? Or is it like, was that just like kind of the natural like way it progressed and now it's gotten to a point where it's like unrecognizable from when it started kind of a thing?
I feel like it's partially the latter. I just feel like it's one of those things where you look very cool and you look very powerful when you break out of a finisher. But like, so they want to do that. So they want these people to look like unbeatable superheroes. But like, I will say, much like superheroes or like anime, for instance, like it does reach a point where the power levels become so high that it becomes almost less fun to watch them kick out of a finisher. Like, if they kicked out of a finisher once and then they got hit by the finisher again, like maybe the story is, oh, they tried to do it too early in the match, right? Oh, this person still had like plenty of momentum, or they still had plenty of like oomph, pep in their step. But like, when you're kicking out 5-6 times during like a 20-minute match, it's like, well, is that move really as good as you seem to think it is?
Yeah, because it does feel weird to be like, especially if a match is like typically supposed to only be like 20 minutes. It's like, when did you do that? Did you do that at like the 10-minute mark? And you're just kind of like, I don't know. That feels weird to me.
Yeah, it's a thing. Like the way it's supposed to work is you're supposed to build up to your finisher and then the finisher is supposed to put him out cold. But
right.
I digress. But yeah, any other questions about WWW or FWIW?
No, I'm excited to do this. I think I got a good understanding of the rules from our first episode. I got to build a character, which is super easy, by the way. I think that's one of the pluses of this game is like, you really only need to read like the first 60 pages in order to like actually figure out the mechanics, and the rest of it is just kind of learning how to put that stuff to practice and like a lot of and more of like the creative stuff. But yeah, I'm excited. This was super like fun and fast to make this game, or to make Mr. Pillar, and I'm excited to see our guest's character and then just like these other characters that you've created. I like how you've taken a interesting turn with like the angelic creatures being the heel characters.
Yeah, that's kind of based off something in contemporary wrestling right now.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a dude who calls himself the Monday Night Messiah, and his followers are called the Disciples.
Oh.
But he is a heel. He is very much a heel. So.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. But hey, Cody, if someone liked this episode and they wanted more, what could they do to find those things out?
Well, there's a lot of things you can do, but the main one, the most important one, is you can go to our website at www.fandomroulette.com, where all of our episodes are at the top of the website now. Yeah, you can find them there. And if you scroll down, you can get a little bio of ourselves. And at the bottom, if you're looking for ways to kind of interact with us or just tell us like what tabletop role-playing games you'd like us to see like us review and play a little bit of in like a small one-shot, feel free to do that at the bottom of our website.
And then where are some other places that they can communicate with us and such?
They can do that in a bunch of different places. You can find us on Twitter at @FandomR_podcast, where we basically post when I Twitch stream, when episodes go live, all that kind of stuff. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. If you search Fandom Roulette, we do a lot of fun stuff on there. You can also find us on YouTube. Yes, YouTube is the place. If you search Fandom Roulette, all of our videos, all of our content is also on there. We're also on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify. I said YouTube already. You can find us on all of your podcast catching RSS feeds, etc., etc. if you're looking to share with your friends, and we greatly appreciate the uptake in viewership and the likes and the subscribings and things like that.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and I guess at that point, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Ring the bell.
Share with a friend.
Comment, tell a friend.
Yeah.
All that wonderful stuff.
We greatly appreciate any and all feedback as well.
With these new shows, it's really exciting to see where it kind of goes from here, and that's all I got. You got anything else, Cody?
The last thing is, if you like video games, you can watch me stream on Twitch every Monday night from 6 to 10 EST. Yep.
Hell yeah. So I guess we look forward to doing this one shot for you guys, and signing off for Phantom Roulette. This is Joe.
And I'm Cody.
And as always, stay nerdy.
Stay super nerdy.